Happy Friday, everybody, and welcome to another weekend of racing here at Woodbine Mohawk Park. And I'm not going to be solo this evening. As I mentioned at the end of last night's show, I've got my co-host back, the Hall of Famer Randy Waples.
TGIF, John.
That's the best way.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's a few things that make Fridays a little bit better, but I'll save that for off camera. But, happy to have you back. And how was your couple days off?
Yeah, good. Freshened you up. Freshened up, ready to go. Hit another. We get a little bit of a lull now. We get some stake races and that, but a little bit of a lull. Mm-hmm. Then next week, boom, we go hit hard again. So kind of wanted to get a day in there, just freshen up.
Oh yes, I mean it's going to be jam packed. I mean there's going to be some horses that we're likely going to see stateside that have raced earlier on today, and even later on this evening that I think we're going to be seeing in a couple of weeks as well, as we've got the Metro gearing up. The Mohawk Million gearing up. I mean, you'd have to imagine that some of those horses competing at the Meadowlands tonight, those 2-year-old trotters in the New Jersey Classic Final, I think they'll be making their way up to
Mohawk
Canada.
Million?
Yeah. I mean, still not sure, obviously, who has what slots or what horses are going to be, coming over. But I think you have an idea when you start doing some chatting and whatnot. And, I think the early returns could be pretty good in terms of some of the colts that I've heard about potentially coming down.
It's been an amazing race.
Yeah.
Not often in the year you can bring up a new race where it brings the kind of prestige and at the same time the excitement that the Mohawk Million does. So, we're lucky to have it, and whoever came up with the idea, kudos to you.
We spoke about some of the talent that we're going to be able to see probably in a couple of weeks here. We've got so much local talent here as well, but we've got some talent in the U.S. that we haven't gotten a chance to see here locally as well. We saw one earlier this afternoon. I mean, we've seen so many big miles over the last couple of weeks, record-breaking miles as well, and we got one here today in Frantic Hanover at Chester in a $300,000 Pennsylvania Sire Stakes event here for 2-year-old pacing colts, and that's Tim Tetrick's Charge, the Ron Burke trainee, getting the job done in 149-1, Randy, and this is a colt who's really caught your eye as well.
Yeah, for sure. Well, what was it, a couple of weeks ago, both those colts raced at the Meadows. I think this one, and what's the name of the other one?
Al Pappy.
Okay, so I watched them both win, and Al Pappy win in 49 for Yannick. This guy win in 51, 51 or 52
I think was it 50? Or no, maybe.
Well, maybe it could have been 50 for Tetrick. But, I mean, to me, they were completely different horses, So, Frantic Hanover, Randy's ears went straight forward on this guy. This is a really, really nice son to stay hungry. Brew Hanover really, really cooked things up this year. But if Brew hadn't come along, I might even be looking at it saying this could be the best Stay Hungry that I've seen. Yeah,
and 7 Colors, the richest son of Stay Hungry to date. But I think we've seen early speed from his crop, in the past. But this guy, I mean, as of right now, I think the early returns, it looks like he could be, it's early, but it looks like he could be the most talented one.
Yeah, I mean, he's so much like Bojangles. This is going to be interesting when they hook up because they're a lot alike. They're both big colts. They both got a lot of speed and a lot of go. But the biggest thing is the intangible, the fact that neither one of them seem like they get fretted up out there. Yep. Both of them are really calm and cool. And as far as driving racehorses, that's the way you want them to be, as calm and as cool as possible, conserve that energy and have lots of it on the end of it. So it's going to be interesting when these two fine colts face each other.
And both undefeated to this point right now. I mean, Bojangles and Frantic Hanover, and obviously a week off for Bojangles this weekend, as Doc kind of mentioned, just going to be in the field with no harness this week. And, he'll be gearing up for those Metro pace eliminations. But Frantic Hanover, I mean, assuming he comes down, I mean, he's Metro eligible. I'd have to figure that he's going to make his way over here. And it's just going to make the group even deeper. I mean, we've got some nice pacing colts, but those two to me have really stood out the most.
Down there.
With Bojangles here. And
I agree with you. They're the two that stand out the most to me as well.
We still haven't seen Bojangles being really tested or having to be stretched out per se either, right? So, Frantic looks like he just wants to go by horses as well. I mean, obviously some urging from Tetrick. It's not like he's doing it wrapped up every time. But he's got a desire to want to go by horses. He gets up alongside them, and he's going by. I mean, good luck fending him off. He's tough.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I do like about him is the fact that Tetrick does have to get him back into gear once in a while because I think the horse is a smarty. I think he's looking after himself out there, and that's the kind that you want as well. Again, Bojangles and Frantic Hanover, this is going to be so interesting when they finally, hook up with one another.
I'm looking forward to it as well. I mean, plenty to look forward to. I mean, the draws on Tuesday. You're going to get a chance to know who's in for next weekend's eliminations as well. We just want to recap the action that took place last night as well. We had a couple of doubles really headlining the Thursday night program here, and 2 wins for trainer-driver Rick Ziron. He kicked off the card with a victory with Courtney's Promise, a full sister to Landing on Time. who I think we'll see on Monday here at Mohawk, and he should be gearing up for the Canadian Trotting Classic eliminations, assuming we have eliminations, and was able to get the job done with Shampoo Girl. I mean, how about just, no problem for Ricky. 2 drives, 2 victories, and both of ones that he trains as well.
Wow, Ricky, he's a proud man. He's not going to let Chuck One Dude come in here on Saturday night and win the Canadian Pace and Derby and show up the old man. No. He's going to come back and put his own show on. Way to go, Ricky.
Yeah, big night for him.
Would Ricky have been my star of the card?
I would have to say.
Cool.
Well, Billy Davis Jr. and Pam Forgy, I mean, actually at that point it likely would have been the case because Billy and Pam teamed up for a double in the last race of the night. The last 2 races, they ended up scoring the late double. Billy Davis Jr. getting the job done with Ardine Gracie at 3-5. And then it was another Pam Forgy charge that got the job done in the finale. I'm drawing a blank despite it being my top pick in that spot. But he ended up upsetting above my pay grade. Just a minor upset. He was the second choice, I think, at maybe 6-5 or 8-5 in that spot. So Diamond Rider, I believe, was the horse.
Diamond Rider. So
yeah, but of course, after a few races, we had a pick 6 carryover. We knew we were going to have one coming into tonight, so we have a small one of over $4,000 there, and that jackpot high five continues to grow, Randy. I mean, just shy of 120,000. And again, as we kind of approach some of these big stakes nights, I've talked about this with Chad too a couple nights ago on the pre-show. I know we normally just kind of save it for the Saturday nights or the last race of the Saturday night program, those stakes programs. I almost feel like why not, switch it up for maybe the Friday night program or something like that. Maybe do things a little bit different. I don't think it has to be on the Saturday night per se, but that's just my idea.
Well, hey, listen, there's nothing wrong with changing things up, right?
I think so.
Yeah, for sure. If you don't, then things get stale.
Make it a big weekend of racing as well. Have something to look forward to on the Friday as well, especially from a wagering standpoint, and we carry over that momentum to what's going to be a monster stakes program. But that's just me shooting some ideas in the air. Once in a while, my teachers told me you got to contribute a bit more. So there's my contribution.
Do we have off topic in a way? But have we ever had that you remember? Have they ever had a handicapping contest at this track?
No, you know what? I haven't
think
seen
that would be an interesting
thing. Great. I know we have those. The Meadowlands has had them a fair share, and I think it's pretty interesting. You have to come on track to participate. You've got to be there on track.
Yeah.
I think they do something where it's a weekly thing or a monthly thing. I think that'd be a great idea.
I think it would be too, where you get some points,
Yeah.
and then maybe towards the end of it or whatever, the top 10 guys or something duke it out on a big night, like maybe Mohawk Million night or something. It would be cool.
Make the broadcasters eligible for that too.
Yeah.
We'll see what we can do. All right, we're gonna preview some of tonight's action as well as we looked at last night's action. And of course, we've got some stakes events over the next couple of nights as well. We've got a Champlain Stakes there for 2-year-old pacing fillies. A couple of scratches there that I think are really going to benefit Dea, who's going to be starting from the 10 hole. But Naughty Delight looking to make it back-to-back wins in this spot as well.
Yeah, I actually had Naughty Delight in for third.
Okay.
There was a horse that I was going to play against Dea, but that one's now scratched, so Dea is going to be my top pick again. But Dea had the 10 hole. Now she's going to be coming out of the 8 hole.
And the Simcoe, obviously, for 3-year-old pacing fillies. Last time that All-Star Maniac got the job done in a stakes event, I got a chance to speak with Nick Galucci, and he kind of spoke about some complications with Chantilly. Was hoping to have her back for this spot, but unfortunately she's not. But still a really good group that we've got going postward there. Obviously, Out of This World Deo coming off a big gold victory. A Perfectly Chic, who has been racing really, really well. So, I mean, this is a wide open affair, I'd say.
Yeah, I completely agree. My only complaint, John, and just a complaint of mine, is that as a driver, it is really, really difficult to win Simcoes. And it's hard to win Champlains, but not as tough as it is to win Simcoes. If the Champlain's a grade 3, I would say the Simcoe should be a grade 2.
And the Fillies and Mares Open tonight as well. It's a Milton prep, so we're going to see a handful of mares who are going to be going postward next week for that final. I believe Twinbee Joe Fresh is going to be qualifying tomorrow in preparation for that final. I think 7 make it straight into the final, so we get to see another matchup here on home soil between Sylvia Hanover and Twinbee Joe Fresh. And right now, the Sean Stacey trainee, she's got the edge right now.
She's got the edge, and she's going to have the edge sort of here too, because she's only 20 minutes away.
Big time.
Whereas Twinbee Joe Fresh is going to have to ship back up to a strange surroundings.
Yep. All right. There's a look at tonight's action. We're going to preview some of the stakes action that's going to take place tomorrow, and we've got a couple of stakes events as well. We've got a Simcoe there for 3-year-old pacing colts, and we've got a field of 7 here, and of course the morning line favorite is All-Star Maniac. A nice showing by him. The last few efforts, that he's been able to kind of stay pacing, aside from that hook wheels, race that night. But crack shot again. A nice runner-up effort by him. And, you know, you had heavy compliments for Dougie about that drive last time, despite being a second-place effort.
Yeah, we're actually going to show 2 parts of that race on Saturday night there, just so that I can kind of highlight Dougie's drive on crack shot. It was an amazing drive, but it came up a little bit short because, like you said, right now All-Star Maniac is the man. This
is the race I'm really looking forward to. The Champlain Stakes here for a 2-year-old pacing colt. Said we got no Bojangles here in this spot, but Sweet Love and Lou will be the morning line favorite. Till the Cows Come Home is going to take a lot of support, rightfully so. Another second-place effort behind Bojangles last time out. You know, the colt that I'm putting on top here that I'm intrigued with, I keep raving about this Redland Rocket Man. I'm going to give him a whirl on top tomorrow night. I mean, I think he's been racing super. Louis out of town, won't be able to get the drive, so Bobby's got it back. He's got it back, you know, one that he's familiar with as well, but Louis having to drive Irvin Hanover at Scioto, so this is a really nice group, and they all draw 4, 5, 6. So all of them draw really well, but I think a lot of others have been racing well as well.
Yeah, well, I mean, you're going Redland Rocket Man, and I'm going the Till the Cows Come Home. And I got a feeling we both have the 5-horse in for second.
Yeah, I'm hoping that potentially I can sit on your back. You know, I think positioning is going to be important in that spot. I would have to say. Yeah. The Simcoe here for the 3-year-old pacing colts. 5th and 5 is one that you've just spoken about in terms of watching his confidence develop week in and week out. 6 in a row. He's going to hook another tough test here. But Captain Dale, from the efforts we saw in Kentucky, his last couple, for him to come up against older rivals and show that much pace at the end of his mile, perfect prep for this race, I'd have to say.
I would have to agree, you know, and he's going to take a lot of looks in there. I'm going to play against him. And I love the idea that he's back, though.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're going to get a chance to look at some other stakes events out of town as well, the Jimmy Ewart Memorial, and we're going to see a field of 10 here, some really, really quality pacers here. And Irvin Hanover, post 4, by the missile, drawing post 9. Captain Albano, just so sharp. I don't know if there's a better,
I guess.
Yeah, and I don't know if there's a better horse on the smaller tracks, though. I mean, this guy just loves, racing on the smaller tracks. But the trailer is going to be obviously very tough. But Irvin Hanover, tough not to like him a lot, given his effort. I mean, valiant in defeat, though.
Yeah, true. Yeah, absolutely. You know what would have been interesting is if Benoit had took his new purchase down here. Remember the Alamo? Talk about a horse that looks good on a half-mile track. He would have been a nice little fit in there.
Yeah, so they've got a big card tomorrow, does Scioto Downs, and best of luck to them. Some good racing there, especially when they've got the big nights. It's even better. Pennsylvania Sire Stakes finals happening tomorrow. Today we got the 2-year-olds at Chester. Tomorrow we're going to get the sophomores at the Meadows, and Prince Al Hanover drawing poorly again, but the horse that, poor draws or not, he continues to overcome it. The guy next door to him, though, Blueprint, I mean, he came back with a vengeance, a 49 and change mile. I mean, he was stretched out to do it, but still under wraps as he approached the wire.
Well, if you had the same surgery that he did, you'd probably come back with a vengeance, too.
I would hope so.
The 6-horse, you didn't happen to notice by any chance who's driving the 6-horse?
6-horse, no,
Pappy's Rocket?
No, I wouldn't happen to know.
It's an interesting horse on a 5/8 mile track. If he's sharp and he can get to the front, he can carry that speed a long ways.
Yannick Gingras from producer Ryan.
Ooh, that'll be interesting. So. Yeah, well, go
and
Yannick.
Twisted Destiny obviously finishing second last time out to Prince Al Hanover, and nice effort by him. But again, I think all eyes are going to be on Blueprint as well. Who we're excited to see, come back here on Canadian soil for the Breeders' Crown as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. We really want to see him back healthy and racing good.
All right, there's a look at some of the stakes action that's happening over the course of the weekend, both locally and out of town. Now we're going to dig into tonight's action as well, and Randy submitted a handful of replays here, and we're going to get right to it here this evening, and we're going to start off in race number 1, and we've got a field of 8. And the 4-5 favorite right now is Overbet. And, a colt who's going to be making his career debut. This is a son of Bettor's Delight, co-owned by Casey Coleman and company, and Tony Beaton, trainee here in this spot. I opted to play against him in his career debut. You're not going to show you didn't submit the qualifying replay on this guy, but for those who maybe haven't seen it, I thought it was a fine effort, other than the fact that he was putting in quite a bit of steps halfway down the lane, and it looked like James had to steady him. For me, I just want to take a wait-and-see approach. I mean, maybe he can get the job done at first asking. I wouldn't doubt it or be surprised by any, stretch. But now that I see the 4-5 offering on him, I feel even more inclined to play against him, just from a value standpoint, strictly, especially with some other horses that I think are coming off some pretty good efforts.
Yeah, well, I mean, the big thing is he's a horse that, he's playable against tonight.
Yeah.
Making his first start, I agree with John. I didn't mind the qualifier, but aesthetically he wasn't pacing all that well. But that could be, a shoeing change could tighten that up. Hobble change could tighten that up. So maybe he will be a little bit better. It comes from wicked connections. Yep. So I'm going to throw him in as a part of it. And if he is the favorite right now, then I say that he's named properly as overbet. Unless somebody knows something that I don't, he's going to be in on the bottom. But again, I just want to see what he does out here tonight. Maybe tonight's going to be the coming out party of overbet, but by what I've seen so far, I'm just going to think that maybe they're going to try to go an easy one, the very first one. Where I went was we got 2 replays to show in here, John, and the one is going to be the 6-horse Lunar Sport, and this is going to be my top pick in this race there. This is a Blake McIntosh trainee, sports writer colt, and we're going to show the replay from all the way back in June the 7th. This is a qualifying attempt on June the 7th, so very, very early in his career. He's only had the 2 lifetime starts to deal with so far. One here where he had a nice third, and then his last one at Clinton where it looked like he was more or less a locked-in 6th there, only beaten 3 lengths. Where I want you to kind of look at this one, though, is the colt that's up on top right now. That's Till the Cows Come Home that he's going against in here. And this guy, Dougie Tinks brings it to him. Jody's asking his. Dougie's not asking his. Jody's asking his some more. Dougie still ain't asking. And on the run out, it's a good one. So then after this race, his very next race, his next qualifier, he's got to be in against No Waitlist, Twin B Cabo, and Bojangles. Yep. Hello. Then he comes back where he's got every race, Redland Rocket Man, A Clean Deal, Twin B John B, Twin B Stanley. Every race he has a tough one to race against. So he's going to be my top pick. Now, Solar Voltage, this is going to be your top pick in here tonight. I got him in for second. Talk about him.
I just thought one that we spoke about here on air last time out and saying we wanted to take a wait-and-see approach with this guy. First-time starter, drawing the outside, and he didn't get away particularly well. He never quite looked comfortable. I mean, it looked like
feared with too.
Yeah, and it looked like he might have put in a couple steps as well. But Chris isn't really asking this guy, late in the mile, and I like the way that he's finishing up behind horses as well. This is a colt to me that showed he had some interest, and you could see him whip up for Chris, not asking him. Nice trip around the track, and I think he's going to be even sharper coming into his second lifetime start. Given what I saw, I know the line doesn't look the most appealing. The way I saw him finish up that mile, the way I saw him win his qualifying try on August 22nd, I think he's ready for a really good effort here against this bunch.
I agree with you. Now, what's your thoughts on the shoeing change? Steel to flip-flops up front.
I'm not sure what to make of it. I know sometimes we're losing a faster shoe, though, but maybe this is going to make him a little bit more comfortable and get around the track a little bit better. But I
100%, right?
Guess we'll see what takes place here in this spot. But I'm intrigued with Evan's Legacy again, one that you liked last time out. Just didn't look like he was steering all that well. I mean, came first up, just never really quite looked comfortable. He was, 3-2 in that spot last time out. Now you're getting him at 7-1. And he's in to go next week, Monday or Tuesday in a grassroots leg. So you have to figure this is a spot where he's going to want to put forth a pretty big effort because the grassroots tries are going to be a lot tougher than this group, I'd say.
Yeah, I agree. So I went 6, and I got Solar Voltage on in for second. I got Evan's Legacy, who you just talked about, in for third, and Overbet in for fourth. Who's your fourth number?
I think I went to, I'm drawing a blank who I went to fourth. I might have gone to, I think I went to Year Round underneath as well in this spot. Either that or the 4-horse. But, for me, your Overbet, I slotted in for third, opted to leave him off my pick 5 ticket because, like I said, I wanted to take a wait-and-see approach with this guy. And, when you're putting in steps halfway down the lane, kind of concerns me a little bit. For me, I just want to see if he can get away or get around cleanly because you can't afford to put in some steps against some of these colts if they're going to be taking their shot at you late.
Completely agree with you. Yeah, he's got to make sure that he's traveling good because what good does it do you anyway? You got to make sure that they're performing well. And Lunar Sport, I'm just kind of looking at it like I think that maybe this horse was very well thought of when he was first coming out to do his baby racing. Obviously, a little bit of a setback. Now he's back ready to go with a race under his belt. Got to go back to that qualifiers too, Till the Cows Come Home, where he was closing in on him rapidly. I think that's a good indication of maybe the talent that he's going to be bringing.
All right, race 1's going to kick off that early pick 5, and we're going to move on to race number 3 here, and we've got fillies and mares here, and we've got a lot of pacing mares who have racing in the fillies and mares preferred last time out, so we've got a drop down for a handful of these mares, and I know a lot of looks are going to go to the rail horse dropping down after a second place effort in that fillies and mares preferred. a lot of eyes were on the 5-horse Grit and Grace last time out, who took a lot of support, and the trip scenario never really worked out in this mare's favor. One that I'm willing to back in this spot because I think those last 2 efforts, while she never hit the board in them, I think they've been really sharp.
Very, very sharp efforts. So that's the replay that we sent in on Grit and is this last race on Grit and Grace. I'm going to put her in for second.
Okay.
I agree with you. I think a locked in, great effort. You're going to see this in here, all the folks at home. But I'm going to go Angostura Hanover. She hasn't won a race now in her last, about 7 or 8 lines we're looking at tonight. Mm-hmm. She hasn't won a race, and I say that she's due. She's due at any time. She's a really, really talented horse, and I think that she's on great form. And, I'm just going to elect to play against what's in here and hope that Angostura is going to come up with a big effort. But as you can see, Jody and Grit and Grace here, just no place to go for this girl. Absolutely none. And, I got a feeling at this point, Jody's probably thinking to himself, next week. Yeah. And this is now next week. Yeah. So she should be good. I got a feeling he's going to race her. She's going to get well raced tonight, Grit and Grace. But, just trip-wise, what's going to happen in here? One that could end up coming up with a big effort. And it's nothing against Grit and Grace. I mean, she's phenomenal right now. But she isn't winning races like she was a little bit before. So if you were going to take a chance that you're going to beat her, maybe now is the time to do it, even though we both think that she's going to come up with a big effort. But if I'm Travis Cullen with Glenborough, mm-hmm. I'm aiming for her back. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Because she's another one that's getting locked in, Glenborough, week in and week out. She was locked in her last one again, locked in the week before. It's how they have to race her. But as you can see in these mares opens and that, there's not much room. Nobody's getting any room to come down through them. They're sealing it up pretty tight. So I think if I'm Travis Cullen, I'm trying to stay as close as possible to Jody because I don't see Macapello Sealstra coming out of there, and I don't see Absolution coming out of there either. Yep. So that leaves it to me that probably Grit and Grace you're looking at is going to be chopping this mile. You got to stay close to her.
And you'd have to say that she's tight off those 2 efforts, mm-hmm. right? I mean, flying home late, 2 mm-hmm. starts back. The trip never worked out. I mean, took support in that effort, had a good draw to work with. Jody was kind enough to provide comments on that effort as well, and just say, hey, like, it was just a bad drive on my end, and just expecting the race to shape out differently, and things didn't work out. And sometimes that happens. I mean, you've been mm-hmm. in that position. Things happen. You have to make split-second decisions, and you can make a misjudgment. I mean, that's just it happens from time to time. So middle of the gate draw, drop down in class. I'm expecting her to be aggressively handled in this spot, and again, I think she's going to be sharp given what we've seen the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. Boy, oh boy, I'll tell you, this Miss Quicksand, she found new form, didn't she?
Yep.
Oh, right back into the mares,
exactly.
Up in against the tough ones.
Mm-hmm. And Angostura Hanover, you mentioned maybe she doesn't have a win over her last several tries, but we keep saying that one of these days she's going to get a Fillies and Mares Preferred victory. She's racing so well, mm-hmm. just still not getting there, but the efforts have been super, I'd say.
Yeah, I agree too. And I mean, who knows, with the rail, I mean, I'm not saying that I expect it, but Trevor might be able to punch out of there himself and land real close.
All right, so we're going to move on to race number 4, and this kicks off the pick 6 sequence, and we have a carryover of over $4,000 here, and we've got a field of 9 in this spot. Morning line favorite going to be the 1-horse Lady Freight, one that I went to last time out. Just again looked like we talked about some horses maybe not steering all that well. Looked like this one wasn't able to kind of stay straight in that effort. Still a good effort, but I think if she can piece it all together and work out a trip, she could be tough to fend off.
I agree with you. Now, she's had a week off. My mm-hmm. guess would be, because there's only 9 in this race there, that he could have come right back the very next week. But, maybe because she was crooked, wasn't steering all that well, maybe he got some vet work done on Lady Freight. What you really got to like about Lady Freight, too, is that the class that she's in tonight, I always call it the buffer zone. It's between the maiden and the non-winners of 2. You win the maiden, then you usually go into this non-winners of 15,000 lifetime. Then if you win that one or have a good showing in that one, usually that's when you move into non-winners of 2. Lady Freight, she's been racing pretty regularly the last 4 in against either stakes or non-winners of 2. Now she's going to take a drop down into the buffer, so I think she's going to look pretty good in here. And this is her last start. Replay Ontario Grassroots on August the 15th. She's going to come up with a real nice third in here and show a back half in 54 and 3. for driver Phil Houdon and trainer Doug High. And I thought it was a decent effort. Here she comes now. And like you said, John, a little bit crooked.
Yep.
You can see that, but is going to miss a week. So maybe, maybe Doug found something with her. Maybe there was just something that was kind of nagging at her a little bit. And, he gave her a week off and going to get her fixed up. And hopefully she's good to go in here tonight.
I thought she was in a winning spot, third over at that point, especially with the way the fractions kind of set up for her. One that I really liked last week. And, I was thinking she's going to find a way to the winner's circle. But we see a bridle change here tonight as well. So, again, a filly who's going to start from the rail. I don't really love that because the last couple of times she's drawn inside, she hasn't gotten away particularly well. But I do think if the pace scenario sets up for her, it doesn't necessarily matter where she is. As long as, again, if she's steering a little bit straighter, I think she's going to be even sharper. It's just tough to always have to, maneuver when you're, going one way and trying to go straight the entire time, right?
Keep your speed, but you're going the wrong way.
How about Show Me the Money Deo? I know this is a step up for this filly, but I tell you what, that debut was a good one.
It was very, very good one. Not going to use her tonight. I mean, it's hard to stay away from her. 53 back quarter and 28-1. But there's just a couple in here that I think are a little bit more salty, and I've been kind of waiting to play them too. One of them, I think Park Avenue Janet could come up with a nice effort. This is only going to be 4-start Lasix for her, and if you really look at the lines, first start Lasix, she's got the 8-hole. He takes her to the back. She paces the back half in 53-3 on the way to a 51 mile. Then her next start, second start Lasix, he makes a first over move. She races hard in the middle of the race, third quarter and 27 and change. Still puts up a good effort, only gets beat 3. Then her next start, third start Lasix, she gets right to the back up at Rito. Doesn't really do a whole lot up there, but it certainly isn't going to hurt her. Now she's back here in her own stall. 4-start Lasix has not been over-tested once since she's got Lasix. Picks up Louis Waugh middle of the gate in this buffer. Much easier competition.
Easier competition. She just hasn't been the same filly like the one we saw. She went some tough miles early on, and I just wonder if that's kind of taken something out of her, especially over these last few tries.
She's not overly big either.
No.
All
right, we're going to move on to race number 5, and this is one of the stakes events that we've got going on. And this is the Champlain Stakes here for 2-year-old pacing fillies. And the 8-5 morning line favorite is going to be Dea, coming off a bounce-back performance last time out. And, the 2 scratches to her inside are going to help quite a bit because having to start from post 8 rather than post 10 is a big difference. And I think she's the one to beat in here.
I was playing against her. One of those 2 outside horses I was actually going to use up on top. But they're both gone, so you're right. And I always had Dea in for second anyway. This is definitely going to make things so much easier on her, moving from the 10 down into the 8. I mean, that's a gift. So she's going to be ultra tough to beat in here. And the big thing that you can see it right on her lines, if they give her her own way, it's over. It's over as soon as she gets to the front. If they make her work for it, then sometimes she gets a little bit weak on the end of it. The whole thing is who can make her work for it and at the same time, have some pop on the end of it. Originally, I was going to go with No Better Air in this situation because I did not see her going to the back, and she's got great gate speed. She's racing real good right now. I thought maybe she could go out of there with Dea, put a little bit of a charge into Dea, make her work a little bit harder, and then go from there. But now that she's scratched and the 8 horse is scratched, I'm not really sure who's going to land, in on her back. Now, I do find that this 5-horse, Fabulous Hanover, coming from the Nancy Tactor barn, 0 for 4, but racing very, very well, middle of the gate, and picks up Louis Waugh, has gate speed to speak of. So maybe we'll get this one coming out of there and pushing Dea a little bit. My thing is if Dea is not pressured, it's over.
Yeah, and Naughty Delight, she's got the speed, and if the trip, if the fraction's set up for her up front, I think she's a big threat. But, I'm curious to see if one of these days, if she's a filly who can get away a little bit closer, per se, because to your point, I think Dea's going to be leaving out of there. I know this is a filly who's going to be prepping for the She's a Great Lady in a couple of weeks, but again, I think you're going to have to be a little bit closer to challenge this filly because outside draw or not for this Jack Darling trainee, I mean, if she lands to the front, I do think she's going to get a lot of respect up there. And again, to your point, good luck catching her if that's the case.
Yeah. So you can see it right on her lines. Anytime that she's pressured, she shows a little bit of weakness on the end of it. If she's not pressured, It's over. I mean, you just can't pull her down.
And Sangria Summer, I thought a nice third place effort last time out. That was a quick mile, 51 and change, and she was third in that effort. One that I think is going to continue to get better week in and week out.
Completely agree. I threw her in for third. You know, I'm not done with her yet either.
We're going to move on to race number 6. This kicks off the late pick 5, and I think this is a competitive field. I mean, there's a lot of fillies in this spot racing really, really well. All My Wishes, the morning line favorite, again, was able to get the job done at Rideau in what was a big night for Chantel Mitchell, obviously capturing the gold as well. You know, there's a couple fillies here coming off some tough trips, and there's one that you want to highlight in particular. That's the 2-horse Sugar Pie Honey. I know the line doesn't look great, but the trip was troublesome.
Yeah, it was troublesome. Yep. Yeah. Simply the Best raced up there that night. She was. I got her down as great on the end of it. I thought she was flying on the end of it. Simply the Best. Rock Shadow getting a bridle change tonight. Going to go from open to blinkers to her. For her, All My Wishes agreed. Big effort up there in Rideau. But I kind of thought that she was starting to get a little tired right on the end of it. You know, it was a big effort. Thought she was just a little bit. It took a lot out of her. That one. Forever After All, I thought this one came up with a huge kind of comeback effort there up in Rideau, but not going to use her. My top pick is going to be Sugar Pie Honey. So let's take a look at the replay on the last race for Sugar Pie Honey. And I agree with you, John. It started out okay, but then it slowly got worse. You know what I mean? He had a decision to make, James. You know, am I going to move or am I going to sit? And he elected to sit. And this is about as much air as Sugar Pie Honey's going to see.
Yeah, just looking for real estate, but it's going to be tough to find it at this point in the mile, especially with the wall of horses that you could see around her. So, was able to just finish 5th in that effort just because of that. James still having a pretty good hold on this filly, and this is a filly that's been racing really well. You could see by her 2025 summary, 6 wins and 9 tries. And this one was just unlucky. Again, one that wanted out and just couldn't really quite find a seam there to kind of burst through. So you have to figure she's going to be even sharper. I opted to put this one on top. I didn't single her in the pick 5, but I mean, off an effort like that, with the way she's been racing, you have to figure that she's going to find some racetrack tonight.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I think that he's going to race her hard because, he drove All My Wishes up in Rideau Carleton. And I'm not saying that he had the choice. They were probably going to go back to Travis with her anyway because Travis has been doing a good job with All My Wishes. But I'm sure that if he'd have really pushed for it, he could have, maybe made a case for himself, but I think he's quite happy with Sugar Pie Honey. I think it was a locked-in effort. Just didn't work out that well, for her, but I got a feeling it's going to work out real good for us in here tonight because it's a good enough race that there's going to be a lot of looks at a lot of different horses, that I think that you can maybe catch her at a decent kind of a price.
Another one that you mentioned with the bridle change, Rock Shadow, one that has been racing so well, despite having no wins and 9 tries. She's always live at the end of it. I wonder if we're going to see a different approach with her one of these nights, but one that I think is on her game right now. We're going to move on to race number 7. We've got another stakes action here, the Simcoe for 3-year-old pacing fillies. We've got a field of 9, and as we alluded to earlier on in the pre-show, no Chantilly here in this spot. I know that Nick Galucci and company were hoping to kind of point her forward to this event. Still not 100%, so we're going to go with these 9 fillies and a really good group of fillies here and some sharp ones. Out of this world, Dale coming off a really sharp performance. I mean, her last 2 tries, Randy, have been super. She's going to take plenty of support, justifiably so. The morning line favorite, though, Perfectly Chic. I mean, that was a tough trip last time out. I mean, this is a filly who just 1 win in 12 tries this year. You can't knock her efforts throughout her young career, and she's already bankrolled over $340,000.
Yeah, and the driver of her tonight's part owner of this one as well. So, the top of the page reads $158,000. This guy's going to be trying to get every dime of that if he can. Let's take a look at the replay on Perfectly Chic up in Rideau Carleton Raceway. Now, this is a gold. That's going on here. So this is the best ones that she's racing against. You're also going to chance to see Out of This World Deo. You're also going to get a chance to see Millie Mae Hanover in this one as well. So it was actually a decent kind of a replay to show. So you're going to see the 2, the 3, and the 6. The 3 going to be my top pick. She's first over right here. She's been first over for a bit. Looks like maybe he might even be able to get the job done. Paul Cameron's filly, Wiccan Pace, she made a break up the inside. Looked like she was going to be very live too. But Tyler, sitting quiet and just keeps chewing away at this girl and finally gets his head out in front on the end of it. But remember, Perfectly Chic, she come first over in that effort. So I thought it was a really, really good one. McClure owns part of this one. I love the job that he's done with her so far. And I'll say one thing about her too. If not a whole lot is done with her movement on the end of it is light speed. I mean, she really, really can throw it down very, very fast. This daughter of Better Than Cheddar, and she's going to be the way that I'm going.
I think you said it best. Again, a filly who has been handled tremendously in terms of how she's been raced and everything like that too. And each and every start, she's got live legs at the end of it. And when she's asked to do the heavy lifting, the filly responds, right? I mean, not getting tired because of those efforts, in prior efforts at least. So one that came first over and fended off a hard charging out of this world, Deo, who again could be really turning the corner here for Chantal Mitchell. Those two efforts have been really, really sharp, and she's going to be a main threat as well. Millie May Hanover, though, in that replay, she was in amongst rivals. JD was in the bike that night, Jonathan Jury, and I thought that was a filly. I think that's a filly that seems to be trending the right way. Winless as a rookie, she's got 3 wins this year, but her efforts against the top company have actually been, I think, underrated.
Did you use her tonight?
Underneath. Yeah, I went to Perfectly Chic.
I used Millie May in for fourth as well. I agree with you. I honestly think that she's racing better than what the lines are showing. And what I really like about her is she's racing way better now than she was at the start of the season.
Couldn't agree more. They're a nice group there that we're going to see in the Simcoe for 3-year-old pacing fillies. We're going to move on to race 9, and we're going to see a good group of fillies and mares here in this Milton Prep. So we've got a $50,000 open here in this spot, a field of 6. All eyes are going to be on the rail starter, Sylvia Hanover, installed as the 2-5 morning line favorite. And, last year she still had a nice campaign in 2024, just kind of, overshadowed by Twinbee Joe Fresh, the horse of the year. But Sylvia Hanover right now, I mean, she's got more wins than she did last year and 10 less starts. And this is a mare who's back to the mare we know she's capable of being on a consistent basis.
Yeah, and, be nice to add to it tonight, too, to thank the race office. 50K they're racing for tonight. So Sylvia Hanover, let's take a look at the replay in that qualifier for her. She's going to be my top pick in here. And, she was the best as a 2-year-old, the best as a 3-year-old, in my opinion, second best as a 4-year-old. Right now, whether this changes, I say she's the best right now, with what she's doing. But let's take a look at it. The horse up on top, American History for Dale Spence. They're not really going to. Bobby's using this as a tightener, and so's Dale Spence. He's not over racing his either. But look at the ear pin going on with Sylvia there. Do you think she likes sitting in the 2-hole with McClure? Taking a snug hold of her? I don't think so. She wants out and wants at it. So real good effort on her. I mean, Stacy's have done an amazing job with her, period. But now it really looks like she's back at great full capacity again. So congratulations, Hudson Standardbreds. Best of luck with her this year. Now let's take a look at this one. You talk this one, John. You're going to know this girl a lot better than me, Kobe's Gigi. But I thought that this was a pretty good qualifier as well because, take a look at the horse that's going to beat her.
Yeah, such an underrated pacing mare is Kobe's Gigi. I mean, she gets the job done when people least expect her to. And I got a chance to speak with Mike Whalen in the paddock, and he just opened up this program and said, "You ever watch this mare compete?" I said, "Oh yeah," and he said that she's an athlete, and I think that was a perfect way to describe her. He was able to bring her over here to Ontario, while he was competing in some stakes action in the U.S. and I think that's a perfect adjective to describe this mare. And was an upset winner on Hambo Day a few years ago. I think was second in the Breeders' Crown to Twinbee Joe Fresh at a big number. Again, this is a mare who I think is going to put forth a pretty good effort. She's got a good draw to work with, and I think she's going to be ready to go. Even if it is a prep race tonight, I think she's going to be ready to go a big effort as well.
Find me a nicer guy in the business than Michael Whalen, and I'll buy you a steak.
I don't know anybody. I don't know him well enough, but he is a nice guy.
He's a really super nice guy. Yeah, really nice group here too. And my girl EJ in there. Listen, Andrew races a few more horses up here. I'm hoping that maybe we might get lucky and maybe he's gonna either send a satellite stable up here or come up. Hey, you're looking to come up here, Andrew. Please come on up.
Yeah, wouldn't mind
he'd be a great addition, wouldn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. And this is tough, right? I mean, my girl EJ, as good of a campaign as she had as a 2- and 3-year-old, to step up against these mares at 4. We know the transition's tough. Just imagine having to make that transition and take on Sylvia Hanover and Twinbee Joe Fresh. I mean, right? All right. There's our look at tonight's action. We're gonna move on to some pick 5 action here, and no singles for you today, but you're going to go thin in legs 2 and 5, but let's go through your early pick 5 ticket, Randy.
Okay, so race number 1, I had difficult with this one. There's a lot of horses that I like in here, so I went 2, 3, 6, and 7. 6 going to be my top pick in here. Race 2, pared it down a little bit. I'm going to go Peso Hanover up on top, and then All Gas, No Brakes in for second. I think that this horse should annihilate this class, but he's just not sharp right now. All Gas, No Brakes. And then in race 3, I'm going 1-5, Angostura and Grit and Grace. Race 4, 1-4, that's going to be Lady Freight, Park Avenue, Janet. And then in race number 5, it's going to be Dea, but I'm also going to throw Naughty Delight in there as well, because if anything happens that Dea does get roughed up, I think a horse from off the pace is going to be the winner.
Couldn't agree there, and I found race 4 to be tough. So I'm going to go 2 deep to kick things off. I'm going to go to Solar Voltage and Evans Legacy. We could see Evans Legacy price going down quite a bit here. Race 2, I'm just going to use 3 and 5. I think All Gas, No Brakes is the class of the field here. But head of the class, if he didn't make that miscue last time out, I thought he recovered nicely to be third in that effort. So I'm going to use him as well. All in on Grit and Grace for me. I mean, I think she's ready for a big mile tonight. And race 4, I found this to be tricky. I went 4 deep. Maybe I left out a couple of horses that I probably should have used. Maybe I could have gone deeper, but those are the 4 that I feel comfortable using. And race 5, I'm all in on Dea. I think the scratches help this even more, and I think she's ready for another winning performance there. So there's my thoughts on the early pick 5, but we've got the late pick 5 starts in race number 6, but we've also got some pick 6 carryover action, and you provided a ticket as well. And let's go through yours.
Yeah, this one's a little cheaper,
yeah.
$4 ticket. So race number 4, I go 2 deep in there. Again, it's going to be Lady Freight, Park Avenue, Janet. Race number 5, it's going to be Fabulous Hanover and Dea. And then in race number 6, I'm going to go, I'm going to single Sugar Pie Honey. And then I'm going to single Perfectly Chic. And then in race number 8, I'm going to single Gimme a Corona. I think she's going to come up with a pretty big effort tonight. And then in race number 9, sticking with the singles, and that's going to be Sylvia.
All right, we're going to go through my pick 6 ticket here. Not as cheap as yours, but the same 4 that I used in the pick 5 and the same single that I used in the early pick 5. It's more or less the same, are both multis. Race 6, I think it could go many different ways. Sugar Pie Honey, my top pick, but those other 3 fillies I think are in with a big shot. I'm going all in on Perfectly Chic. I mean, she's one that I think has been racing super. One that I think can work out an easier trip tonight. In race 8, I'll go 3 deep, but I'm with you on your top selection. Give me a Corona. I liked the effort last time out, and all in on Sylvia Hanover. So, I mean, more or less the way you look at this, you could turn this into a pick 4 with a couple of the horses that you get to play around it. But there's our thoughts there with a $4,000 plus carryover in that sequence. And plays of the night, you're up first, Randy.
Okay, we're going to start off in race number 1, and that's going to be Lunar Sport. It's going to be my worth a look. Then race number 2 is going to be Peso Hanover is Beat the Favorite. Race 6, all in, going to be Sugar Pie Honey. And my Waples Watch comes along in race number 8, and that's going to be Gimme a Corona.
All right, and my place board here, worth a look, Solar Voltage here in race number 1. My best bet, Grit and Grace, all in, Perfectly Chic. And my spot play, Wicked Pace. I think that if she can work out a pretty good trip despite being a sophomore filly, I think she can get the job done for the first time in 2025. Plays of the night from some other resident handicappers. Gardner Barnsdale going over bet here, currently floating up to 2-1. Cold Creek Espresso for Doug Henwood, his deep crunch. And Ghislaine Paquette going his Beat the Fave with Naughty Delight. I'd say she's the next logical.
I would have to agree. Well, with those 2 on the outside scratch, definitely.
All right, there's our thoughts there as we get set for this Friday night 10-pack. We've got some good action here and some good horses that are going to be competing over the Campbellville Oval. Best of luck.